Just discovered that my wife of 17 years has been cheating on me with a coworker. I just discovered this morning that my wife has been having an affair with a coworker. My head is in a really strange space right now. I don't feel how I thought I would feel, and it's almost like it doesn't feel real yet, or it just hasn't sunk in. She was at work, I was still home. We have a tablet computer that mostly our kids use for games and homework apps, and it was chiming a bunch of times with new text messages. The message app on the tablet is synced to my wife's phone, and I'm used to hearing it in the background, and I normally just ignore it. I was cleaning up around the house, and when I grabbed the tablet to plug it in, I noticed a series of very sexual texts between my wife and a coworker on the lock screen. I have literally never snooped on my wife's texts before, but after seeing this, I opened the Messages app and read through all of her texts with this coworker, and, to be honest, I read a whole bunch of her texts with other people too, none of which were at all significant. The text history only went back 2 months. A lot of the texts were about completely innocuous work stuff, but going all the way back to the beginning of the text history, there were occasional texts that were explicitly sexual or romantic. So, I basically now know that she's been having an affair with this guy for months. He's about 10 or 15 years older than her. He works in a different department, so neither of them has any supervisory authority over the other, but they work together frequently on projects that involve both departments. I've met him a couple times and he seemed to me like an okay guy. His name comes up a lot when my wife tells me about what's going on at work, so I knew that they work together a lot and get along really well. I never remotely imagined that my wife would do something like this. It never even crossed my mind that this was possible before today. I trusted her more than I have ever trusted anyone in my life. That's what's messing with my mind the most when I think about it. Now, in retrospect, I feel like a complete fool. She would occasionally stay late working on projects with him, or go to evening work-related events with him when I was home watching the kids. I never questioned it for a second because I trusted her. Here's the thing, I thought we had a really strong marriage. I think any of our friends or family would have said that we have one of the best marriages they know. We love spending time with each other, we plan fun date nights every so often to get away from the kids, and we both absolutely love our kids. I have always said that my wife is my best friend, and I still think it's true. Our sex life has been up and down over the years of our marriage. Kids got in the way at times, and we've had some relatively dry spells now and then, but lately it's been good. She's been really into it, and it's been reasonably frequent. Of course, I have no idea when the affair started more than 2 months ago, but for all I know this may have been going on for a couple years. This past year we've both been under a lot of stress. She's taken on some extra work responsibilities which have been a strain, and I've had a career setback which was both stressful / demoralizing and time-consuming. As a result, we've both been a bit grumpier than usual, and we've had more real arguments than in the past, including a couple real shouting blow-ups which had never happened before. But we always made up, and in between things seemed okay, and I thought we were managing to cope with a stressful period. We have always talked a lot about our future, what we'll do when the kids go off to college, things we want to do when we retire, long-term house and travel plans, etc., and she had never given me any reason to doubt that we were in this together for life. Anyway, I'm not sure how I feel or what I should do now. It's really strange. I feel like I should be in a blind rage right now, but I really don't even feel angry, not even at the other guy, and I don't understand why. I absolutely don't want to divorce her. I still love her, and I really can't imagine my life without her. Plus, we have young kids who would be devastated. But now I don't have any confidence that I know what she wants. Some of the texts were sexual, but others were romantic. She wrote things like, "I really miss you, wish you were here with me," with heart and kiss emojis, and he wrote similar things to her. I know he has a couple older kids, I think college age, but I honestly have no idea if he's married or divorced or what. And I don't know if she or he views this affair as a serious long-term thing or just some kind of forbidden thrill. I'm almost inclined to just pretend I don't know what I know and let it keep going behind my back, but I worry about it blowing up on me. First, if she was careless enough to let me find out about it, who else is going to find out or already knows? If this got out at her work, it would be devastating. She is fairly high profile in our community and has a very promising career in front of her, and this could be a career-ending level scandal. I'm a pretty private person and have no desire to have my dirty laundry aired in public, and I also don't want her to get hurt. And, though I can't be sure, it seems like some of their sexual encounters have actually happened at their workplace. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Second, these text messages are showing up on the tablet that our kids use. Some of the texts would go right over their heads, but at least our oldest child is mature enough that she would realize something very wrong was going down if she saw them. I can't delete the app or account without making her suspicious, and, to be honest, until this is all out in the open, I intend to keep reading her texts. So, I think I need to confront her about this, but I'm not sure how to do it, and I'm definitely not looking forward to it. I'm also worried that even though I'm completely calm and rational about it right now, that might change once the whole situation really sinks in. I've also had a few of what I think are really bad ideas today. First, I've been thinking about buying a prepaid burner phone and anonymously texting her things like, "I know about you and X. If you don't come clean to your husband, I'm going to tell him everything," to try to make her be the one who has to bring up the subject. But this seems cruel and cowardly. Second, I've been thinking about trying to use this affair as leverage to open up our marriage. I've had fantasies over the years about swinging, or threesomes, or just being with other women, but I never thought about it seriously, at least partly because my wife had never shown the slightest bit of interest. But this seems self-destructive to me. Evening things up won't fix whatever problems we're having, and probably just adds another potentially toxic element to the mix. I want to save my marriage, not pressure her into something she wouldn't otherwise have agreed to. Finally, I have this lingering doubt in my mind about the whole affair. Maybe I'm overreacting and seeing something that's not there. The sexual texts are pretty explicit and unmistakable. But maybe this is their version of flirtatious banter, sort of a long-running inside joke between the two of them that they have this secret affair going on. That seems like wishful thinking to me and doesn't make me feel any better about the more romantic texts. I have no one to talk to about this. Basically, any of my friends that I would feel comfortable talking to are part of the same social circle as my wife and her close friends, and I just have no confidence that word wouldn't spread. I've heard too much gossip from too many people over the years to have that kind of trust. I have family members I could talk to who I trust completely, but I'm afraid this would permanently poison them against my wife, and I don't want that to happen. So that's what brings me to Reddit, looking for any advice or insight that you can give me. I'm sorry if this post is all over the place, but I think that reflects all the different directions my mind is going in right now. TLDR, my wife is cheating on me. She doesn't know that I know, and I don't know how to move forward. My wife of 16 years cheated on me with her boss. About a month ago, my wife cheated on me with her ex-boss. He'd left the company the week before. We were both supposed to go to a party downtown that night and spend the night at a nearby hotel. Our babysitter became unavailable and I needed to stay home with our kiddo, 5 years old. She decided that she would go alone and stay the night without me. Before she left for work that morning, I told her how uncomfortable I was with that. Normally, I wouldn't have cared, but my spider sense was tingling because of weirdness over the previous few days. She told me there was nothing to worry about, and that was that. I woke up with a start at 2:15 a.m. and a knot in the pit of my stomach. She'd recently turned off her phone location service, should have been a huge red flag, but I didn't actually think that much of it, but I checked it anyway. She turned it back on and I could see she was at an apartment complex nowhere near the party location. She was there until 9 a.m. I confronted her when she got home, and after some half-hearted lies she stopped denying it. It was the first time, might have been some groping and or oral earlier in the week, I'll never know, though it wasn't a drunken moment of weakness. She'd been thinking about it and planning for it for a couple of weeks. She knew what she was doing and obviously didn't care what it did to the family. Our marriage has had its ups and downs, and I've not always been the greatest husband. I've never been unfaithful though, and I love her dearly. Whatever issues we had, I think we could have worked through. From what I can piece together, I think she was looking for a quick escape from a husband and child that she felt were stifling her. It was a chance to have a different, more exciting life. Turns out that her ex-boss was really just looking for a little something on the side. He put her into a cab still in her evening gown and made her make the 9 a.m. walk of shame back at her hotel by herself. Oops! After she finally admitted the infidelity to me, she told me that it had been a mistake and she wanted to stay with me. There's a chance that her ex-boss would try to hire her at the new company he works for. She's really damn good at her job, and I suspect his motivations would be more that she would help make him look good rather than sexual. She's really not his type. I told her that there was no way that could happen. She couldn't be with me and work for the man she'd broken her vows with. I told her that she needed to call her ex-boss and tell him that they could never speak again, and I needed to hear her say the words to him. She resisted this fairly strongly. The new job, if it were to materialize, would be an important career boost for her. Turning it down would be a big sacrifice, so I understood some of the hesitation. She asked me for a day or two to think it through. She went over to her mother's house for a couple of hours, and when she came back told me that she decided to make the call and give up the career opportunity. What she didn't know was that because I get the phone bills, I have access to her call records. I could see that she'd talked to her boss for an hour while she was going to her mother's. I didn't mention that I knew this and had her call her boss. She told him that it had been a huge mistake and that they needed to cut off all communications. He said that he understood and would honor her wishes. Pretty much exactly what I wanted to hear. Later, I asked her if she talked to her boss any since he put her in a cab back to her hotel. She said that she hadn't. I pressed her on this, and she said if you want the truth, I sent him a text just seeing how he was recovering from the party. I told her that I knew that this was a lie and I knew she'd talked to him before coming home from her mother's. I pressed her on what the hour-long call was about. She told me it was to talk about what she was going to call him about later with me, the breakup call. I realized, of course, that this made the whole breakup call a pile of nonsense. I told her that I thought she called him to see if there was any chance of a relationship. She denied, but couldn't otherwise explain what the hell they talked about for so long. Finally, she let it slip that he'd said you need to try to make it work with your husband. If not, then we'll see. So my instincts were right. She had to think about whether to turn down the possible career opportunity because she had to figure out what her options were. If she could have the job and the fellow she was infatuated with, that would be her preference. Failing that, she decided she'd rather lose the job and be with her family than be alone and maybe or maybe not get the job. For what it's worth, I eventually told her to accept the job if they offered it. I don't think he will though. Once he had sex with her, too much career risk from drama and fallout. That was all about a month ago. Since then, she's been the model wife. We're going to counseling, she's done everything that I've asked, she's put up with my various late-night talkathons, she doesn't complain when I don't let her sleep in our bedroom, and she's not made it about her, much. She clearly wants things to work now, and I believe her when she says she wants to be with me. At the same time though, I'm still having difficulty just with the physical side of the infidelity, and I'm having a lot of trouble with being plan B. Part of it is my bruised ego, but a very large part is a concern that she wants our relationship now, but what happens in the future? I feel like she's accepted her life and is now gung-ho about making the best of it. What happens down the road though? So, the question in front of me now is what to do. For the last month, I've been bouncing all over between just digging in and fixing things to thinking about asking her to leave. For what it's worth, if she leaves, the kiddo almost certainly stays with me. My work gives me the time and ability to be a stay-at-home dad, which is a role I enjoy. My inclination as a father is that I probably have to stay and try to make it work. Kids do best with a mommy and daddy who love and respect each other. If there's still even a remote chance of that happening for the long term, I don't think I can deny my son that chance. I'm hoping but not convinced that time will dull some of the raw emotion. TLDR, wife cheated on me with her boss. Didn't work out how she expected and now wants our relationship to work.